automatic questions that will completely change how you communicate. Stick around to learn how to simplify your English right now. Here we go.
Liam, have you ever been in a situation where you wanted to ask something in English, but your brain suddenly just deletes the entire sentence?
Total blue screen. You know the isolated words, but when it's time to actually structure the question, you just freeze.
Right? And the worst part is we spend years in school studying grammar, but nobody teaches us the simplest way to fix this brain freeze.
Well, today we're fixing that. I'm going to show you how to ask almost anything in English using ridiculously simple patterns.
Okay, but why do we panic so much over a simple question? Seriously, my heart starts racing every single time.
Because learners try to build perfect sentences from scratch. Fluent speakers just reuse patterns they already know.
Wait a second. Are you telling me native speakers aren't inventing new sentences every time they open their mouths?
No way. They repeat the exact same patterns naturally. And stick around until the end because the last technique will completely change how you speak.
No spoilers. Save the mystery. But give me a practical example right now. How does the brain actually organize that faster?
By using what I call question starters. They're automatic sentence beginnings like, do you, can I, how do I, or could you?
But Liam, what's the magic behind just memorizing the beginning?
The magic is that after the starter, you only need to plug in the final piece of information. You don't waste any energy thinking about the grammar structure.
Shut up! So instead of trying to memorize hundreds of full sentences from a boring textbook, I just need to master the pattern?
Sure. It takes a massive weight off your shoulders and makes you speak way faster.
Can you show a simple example with do you?
Sure. You can say, do you work here? Or, do you like coffee? Or, do you understand?
Wow, the structure stays almost the same every time.
Bingo. That's the entire formula. Do you plus a verb plus your information. It's exactly why this simple hack works in thousands of everyday conversations.
Then why on earth do so many learners completely ignore these patterns? It seems like a no-brainer.
Because we've been conditioned to think that fluency means using complex grammar.
Okay, so simple is better. What other question starters should we master right after do you?
You need to dominate WH questions. What, where, why, when, who, and how. Almost every real-life interaction depends on them.
But there are so many of them. It's easy to mix them up when you're put on the spot. How do we make them practical?
Group them by purpose. What for facts, where for places, and how for methods.
Okay, the bathroom question is definitely a lifesaver when you're traveling.
Practical, fast English will always help you more than a complicated grammar textbook.
Love that. But how can learners sound a bit softer and less intense? Sometimes direct questions feel a bit aggressive.
They can use helper phrases before the real question.
Wait, people actually do that? Like what?
Phrases like, can I ask you something? Do you know? Or could you?
And why do those small phrases make such a difference?
Because they make your English sound more relaxed, polite, and conversational.
Oh, that's probably why fluent speakers sound more comfortable. What is another helper phrase people can use every day?
Is there a way to is extremely useful for many situations.
Can you give some examples?
Sure. You can say, is there a way to pay online? Or is there a way to fix this?
Yeah, they sound confident but still really polite.
A lot of confidence comes from using patterns you already know.
What should learners do when they suddenly don't understand something?
They should use survival questions instead of panicking.
Wait, what do you mean by survival questions?
They are automatic questions that save conversations during difficult moments.
Can you give examples people can memorize immediately?
Sure. Could you repeat that? Slower, please. And what does that mean are essential.
Why are those questions so important for fluency?
Because they reduce anxiety and give your brain extra time to process information.
So fluent people also ask for clarification sometimes?
Absolutely. Even native speakers ask people to repeat things all the time.
Wow, that probably surprises a lot of learners.
Many learners think fluent people understand everything instantly.
What is another powerful survival question?
Can you explain that again? Is extremely useful at work and in daily conversations.
How do fluent people continue conversations so naturally?
They turn answers into new questions automatically.
What do you mean by that?
If someone says, "I went to London last year," you immediately ask something related.
Like what?
You can ask, "Why did you go? How was it?" Or, "Who did you go with?"
Wow, so the other person gives you the topic already.
Exactly. And that means you don't need to invent new subjects constantly.
Why is that technique so powerful?
Because it removes pressure from your brain during conversations.
So conversations are more about reacting than preparing giant speeches.
Absolutely. Natural conversations move step by step through curiosity.
That sounds much easier than what most learners imagine.
Learners often think speaking means delivering perfect monologues.
What is one of the biggest mistakes learners make with questions?
They try too hard to sound sophisticated.
Can you show an example?
Instead of saying, "Could you help me?" they create long, complicated sentences that sound unnatural.
Can you give a few essential patterns again?
Sure. Do you? Can I? Could you? How do I? And do you know are powerful starters.
Wow, those patterns really appear everywhere in English.
And once they become automatic, you stop freezing during conversations.
So, fluency starts with asking simple questions confidently?
You got it. Because questions create interaction, and interaction creates fluency.
What is the best way to practice those patterns daily?
Repeat small, useful questions every day until they feel automatic.
Can learners practice even without speaking to native speakers?
Absolutely, because you can practice with yourself during normal daily activities.
How would that work in real life?
You can look around and ask yourself questions like, "Where did I put my phone?" Or, "How do I open this?"
Interesting. So, practice can happen naturally during the day.
Sure. Fluency grows through repetition and familiarity.
Why do people forget questions so quickly after studying?
Because they memorize isolated information instead of using it actively.
So, active repetition matters more than reading lists.
Yeah, your brain remembers language better when it connects language with action.
What should learners remember during difficult conversations?
They should remember that one simple question can save the interaction.
Even something small like, "Could you repeat that?"
Sure. Communication continues when questions continue.
Interesting. So, questions are actually tools for survival.
Exactly. And confident communicators use those tools constantly.
So, what's the final technique that can completely change the way someone speaks English?
The final technique is learning how to simplify questions instantly.
Simplify questions?
Sure, most learners make English harder than it needs to be.
So, what do fluent speakers do differently?
They simplify the message until they can say it fast and naturally.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Instead of thinking, "I was wondering if you could possibly help me understand this," they simply say, "Can you help me?"
Wow, that sounds way more natural. When learners freeze, they should simplify the question immediately.
Exactly. Because real conversations are usually short, direct, and clear. And once you stop overcomplicating questions, you stop feeling trapped inside your own head during conversations.
This topic was really enlightening for me. But is there more beyond that?
Absolutely. And what if I told you we prepared a video called "How to Feel Like Yourself in English" that's perfect for you?
Really? I think that's also a huge problem for many learners. So I'll see you there. Bye.
Bye.